If there was a political portrait worth 1,000 words, it was the expression of ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna at KICC.
Thank you very much. Mwambia baba ni baba ya kila mtu. So baba akisema fanya hivi lazima mfanye hivyo.
While Raila Odinga and his ever-loyal brigade stood shoulder to shoulder with President Ruto and his Kenya Kwanza troops, sealing what will now be remembered as the Handshake 2025, Sifuna's demeanor told a tale of its own, one that the cameras didn't miss and Kenyans on social media certainly didn't ignore. On this historical day, Raila Odinga made it official. He had joined forces with Ruto under yet another grand unity pact, sending ripples across Kenya's political landscape.
Hapa nje hawajaset kitu yoyote, so hatuwezi pata sauti hapa.
Jubilant crowds of supporters thronged outside KICC, cheering the unexpected political matrimony.
Leo ni ile siku ya kumalizana na ukabila, kumalizana na chuki, kuondoa ubaguzi na kuunganisha Wakenya wote. Mimi nataka niwaulize wangwana wa Nairobi. Leo mimi na baba tumeweka sahihi maelewano ya kuunganisha taifa la Kenya iwe taifa moja. Tulete jamii zote za Kenya pamoja, dini zote za Kenya pamoja, sehemu zote za Kenya pamoja. Na wauliza watu wa Nairobi, munasema tuungane ama tutengane? Tuungane ama tutengane? Wala wanasema tuungane, jameni nione kwa mkono.
Inside, however, was a different story. While the principal players smiled for the cameras, Sifuna's face was a study in contrast. One part disbelief, two parts frustration, and a generous sprinkle of how did we get here.
I want to appreciate the wisdom of these two leaders. I want to thank them.
His stance was no secret. Just weeks ago, Sifuna had boldly declared that ODM would not, under any circumstance, entertain an alliance with Ruto's government, citing irreconcilable policy differences.
ODM, as ODM, I'm telling you, and I've said because it on this show, and I've said it on this show, Trevor, my position is, even if ODM supports Ruto, Ruto will still lose. I have said it here and I repeat it. So I want to make it very clear that as a party, we do not support either the internal affairs or the way the external affairs of this country are being run. And this is a reputation.
Because he said when the party leadership comes back, he will give direction.
That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. Let me make another thing clear. Yeah. ODM will only enter into alliances with political parties that are like-minded, political parties that are pro-people, people who can manage a country. You are not going to force us into an alliance with incompetent people. And it has been demonstrated that the Kenya Kwanza government is the most incompetent so far from independence. So they have mismanaged our country, they have mismanaged our democracy, they have mismanaged our economy, they have now mismanaged our international affairs. So our standing in the community of nations is now under, in tatters.
My direct question is,
yes.
So what if Raila says we are supporting William Ruto in 2027? Then what?
William Ruto will lose that election with Raila's support.
Fast forward to today, and here he was, not just present, but among the approving witnesses of this newfound political bromance.
Just open the front page and display for a photo session. Front page, front page. Front page. A hand of applause. I will now ask Your Excellencies to be the first to take your seats.
If irony had a human form, it was Edwin Sifuna, standing there as the reluctant guest at a wedding he swore he'd never attend.
Yeah. ODM will only enter into alliances with political parties that are like-minded, political parties that are pro-people, people who can manage a country. You are not going to force us into an alliance with incompetent people.
And the internet, well, Kenyans did what they do best, decode and dissect. Was Sifuna forced to be part of the signing? Had he been caught flat-footed by this unexpected turn of events? Or was he simply regretting the speed at which his previous declarations had aged like milk? Now, whatever the case, his body language screamed what his words dared not. He was a man politically boxed in, a casualty of shifting alliances playing out right before his eyes.
Welcome, Banasia.
Thank you, Senator Ledama, Your Excellency the President, Your Excellency Prime Minister Raila Odinga, Your Excellency the Deputy President, all leaders present here, all protocols observed. My name is Edwin Sifuna. I am the Senator of Nairobi, and I am standing here in my capacity as the Secretary General of the Orange Democratic Movement. Your Excellency, in the capacity as SG, I have certain constitutional duties, and that is why I'm standing here to execute those duties in accordance with the Constitution of ODM. We have taken the liberty to read out this Memorandum of Understanding so that we are all clear on what it is and what it is not. We are all clear on what it is and what it is not. As SG, I want to confirm that this document has been processed through the relevant party organs. And Your Excellency, I have here in this room members of the party's central committee who I'll just request to stand up so that they confirm that this is a decision of an organ of the party. Please stand up if you're a member of the central committee of ODM.
For those in the room, the irony was thick enough to cut with a knife. They knew Sifuna's previous stance, and as the cameras panned his way, it was evident he wasn't just witnessing history. History was personally trolling him.
Realizing that Kenya has gone through a long period of political crisis and conflict that has hampered the nation's potential for development and improving the livelihoods of our people. Noting that such crises have often resulted into demonstrations by our people demanding their rights, with the state often resulting to brutal suppression of such demonstrations that unfortunately lead to loss of life as well as property. Acknowledging that the nation will not develop without reinforcing democratic governance and the rule of law, conscious that the decay in democratic governance is expressed through skewed allocation of resources, ethnic intolerance and marginalization, corruption, and noting that devolution, though intended to strengthen democratic governance and development at the grassroots, is systematically undermined and starved of funds. Now, therefore, His Excellency President Dr. William Samoei Ruto, CGH, and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, EGH, being the party leaders of the largest political parties in Kenya and bearing the greatest political responsibility, acknowledge the need in setting up a broad platform for collaboration and cooperation between all political forces and other stakeholders in the Kenyan society to address these long-standing challenges that threaten our nationhood. As a first step towards this collaboration, His Excellency President Dr. William Samoei Ruto, CGH, and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga did set up the National Dialogue Committee in the year 2023 and hereby make this resolution on the initiatives that must be undertaken to instill further confidence in the country. While this memorandum does not define the formation of a political coalition between the respective political parties, its successful implementation will inform the basis of steps towards the establishment of a progressive and stable country. Now, therefore, the two leaders commit and resolve to collaborate and cooperate with each other by conducting broad-based consultations between themselves on the key issues identified below. Number one, the full implementation of the National Dialogue Committee report, the NADCO report.